And then we haven't talked, which I'd like to get to. I mean, there was a lot of talk about the renewed or renovated Palestinian Authority. And you said it may have to wait for a new Israeli government. A lot of people think it needs to wait for Abu Mazen to go. So Itamar, I mean, talk a bit about how you see the Palestinian Authority. Is it reforming? Can it do this role? Or does it just need to be a kind of figurehead?
Clearly, they need a new leadership. Personally, Abu Mazen is very old. At some point, in this or that way, he would have to be replaced. Secondly, the government is corrupt and inefficient. The government of the Palestinian Authority, it needs to be overhauled. I'm not sure that they're ready for statehood right now. The point, I mean, to have a failed Palestinian state, I mean, to create, let's say, by fear to create a state and then to have it fail after a year would be very counterproductive. So I think we need to look, let's say, at a 3 to 5 year period to say, we bring the PA to Gaza and we begin negotiations with the Palestinians with the prospect of a two-state solution, and we move gradually. During this period, the Palestinian Authority could overhaul itself with Arab help. In our host country here, there are several important Palestinians who are active in Palestinian politics and are supported by the government, and so is the case with other countries, with European and American support. So we need to look at this 3 to 5 year period as a period in which gradually we'll move forward.
Nabil?
Just very quickly, I mean, people will assume I want to say something different. It's the exact opposite. I just wanted to confirm that what Itamar is saying is exactly what I meant. We deal with the crisis and project the statehood 3 to 5 years down the road. But thank you.
No, because, I mean, part of, I must say, the economic disaster in the West Bank is quite severe. And there's a war in the West Bank. It's not like nothing's happening. It's a second front. And in the meantime, you know, under this current government with Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, the settlement activity is proceeding, often with, well, I would say the indifference of the Israeli forces. I don't think they're actively helping much, but what they are doing is they're at war with Palestinian militancy and have killed an awful lot of Palestinians, you know, have bombed West Bank cities, right? So for the PA even to get involved takes a bit of a leap of courage, because one of my friends in the West Bank who teaches it, Bir Zait, said to me, one of the loneliest things in the world today is to be a moderate Palestinian. So how do we, well, nobody knows, but I mean, this takes time, but how do you manage the settler problem? I mean, can you have, at this point, even a viable Palestinian contiguous state? You know the cliche, but is it still possible? I want to ask both of you.
You know, I don't think Israel should be mentioning names of Palestinian leaders that it would like to see, because it would delegitimize them, but
could be a death sentence.
There was an excellent prime minister in the Palestinian Authority called Salam Fayyad, who began to build a state bottom up. And what he and other Palestinians like him that I've been speaking to said, you know, we've had this conflict for many years. You seem to have won, and we looked at you and we drew a few lessons from what you did. And what you did under the British mandate is you built an embryonic state, and when independence came, you had a state, and we need to do the same. So, and Salam Fayyad is not alone with that outlook and with these capabilities. These people need to be identified not by Israel, and need to be brought to replace the current leadership of the Palestinian Authority, and this could make a huge difference.
I think that's an important point, but let me add something, and I say this regretfully. We cannot do it alone. in other words, Middle Easterners, will not succeed in doing this alone for a multitude of reasons. We need international support as well as international leadership, not to do it for us, but to provide, if you want, the support and the pressure to continue. Just last couple of weeks or so, the Israeli Minister of Finance has openly said that he wanted the Israeli Jewish state to include parts of Egypt,
Right.
parts of Iraq, parts of Syria, parts of Lebanon, parts of Saudi, and I think I missed out on the six. Furthermore,
Parts of Florida too, maybe.
he also said, day before yesterday, that Palestinians have three options. Leave, live in Israel without political rights, or face, if they're going to resist, the consequences of Gaza. This cannot be what the world accepts.
No.
I support a two-state solution. We started the peace process, and we want peace with Israel, with all the Arab countries. But to bring these pieces together with Salem or with others, we need serious international support. Trump is an interesting character. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's interesting in that he likes deals.
Yeah.
My problem is he likes deals in the business sense, not about right and wrong, but about who's rich and who's poor, or who makes the benefit. So his essence is not historic rights or rule of law. It is how do you bridge the gap. And I'm concerned, frankly, and again, just yesterday there was a decision to, I think, renounce the administrative law in West Bank by the Israelis. But anyway, my concern is that the present Israeli government, and I'm using the term government because I know Israelis, other Israelis who want peace, will push to him that, let's be realistic here, you can't get a two-state solution. So let's actually go back to an interim situation where you get a ceasefire and claim it as the largest and the best in the world, and change the realities on the ground so they are irrevocable.
Yeah, well, this is why I asked the question, because, you know, to some degree, Trump wants to end Biden's wars. I'm not sure he cares whose interests are sacrificed in order to get there. And then you have Huckabee as the, I mean, who doesn't think Palestinians exist. I mean, what worries me is Trump giving kind of leeway for an annexation of another part of the West Bank, like the Jordan Valley, for instance. So
Can I just add 5 seconds to this?
No, go ahead.
And I won't interrupt you.
I mean,
I am concerned that the next step will be the Jordanian option. Push the Palestinians towards Jordan, sacrifice Jordan in sake of the Palestinian state, and that way it may appear to be feasible, and it's a very dangerous approach. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. Let's go back. Remember, there is the Abraham Accords, but there was also the deal of the century, the plan put together by Trump's team. It was a bad plan, but it included two very important elements. One is two states. Two states. True, 30% of the West Bank would have been lost to the Palestinians, but two states. And secondly, swap. The idea of swap was in that plan. So you could work to improve that plan. Secondly, you should notice that some of the actors, without naming names, some of the people who were active in the first Trump administration on the Middle East are not there the second time. So he learned some lessons. Number three, he said, I want the problem in Gaza resolved before I come in, because he doesn't want to waste his effort on a minor issue. I think he wants to spend the effort on a bigger issue. That's my sense.
yeah.